Hello, everyone. Today's Tuesday, May the 12th.
I'm Bruce Turner in Melbourne, Florida.
I'm George Dosher in Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm Jeff Zayas in Napa, California.
And I'm Robert Taylor in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hello, everyone. Hey, I'm Duke Carrico, and on tonight's Tech and Coffee's Android Journal, Meerkat comes to Android. Hey, Google's got collections and third-party support for Google Now, and Google acquires Timeful. Hey, all of this, a whole lot more, and our app picks. Hello, everyone. How are we doing?
Well, it looks like we're finally back on the air after a couple of weeks, huh?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So I want to apologize. I actually I got some questions wanting to know what was going on. First of all, week before last, we had several members traveling out of town, and it was just, you know, hey, technology is pretty cool, but this was one of those things where logistically it wasn't going to work. And then last week, man, Google just didn't want to play with us, just kept rejecting every time we started to try and on air. We thought we might want to try and do it later on through the week, but that didn't work out either. So, hey, guys, we're 2 weeks late, but welcome to episode 99. Yeah, man.
2 weeks late, but not $1 short, right?
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, guess what we're doing tonight? Right now, as we speak, we're streaming live on Meerkat.
Are we really, Duke? Are we really streaming live on Meerkat?
Yes, we are. We are really doing it. So let's talk about Meerkat. Bruce, honestly, I've played with it. I haven't really spent a whole lot of time trying to gain a following, but I'll tell you what. Let me get your thoughts first, and then I'll give you mine. Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, you know, this is kind of like the CB radio when they first came out, right? Breaker. You know, my handle was the Parson. My dad was Speckled Bird. My mom was the Silver Fox. You know, and so there's a lot of curiosity with it. You know, there was this unique competition going on between Meerkat and Periscope, and then Twitter acquires Periscope, and then they block Meerkat from accessing Twitter's social graph, and now Meerkat's pivoting toward Facebook. But it's just really interesting. It really is in its infancy. The Meerkat family are extremely, and to their credit, passionate about Meerkat. And helpful as all get out. There are all kind of Meerkat streams where people just come on and spend an hour or two, and they're just there asking questions, especially when the Android app for Meerkat was released. There were Meerkat, I don't know what you call them, Meerkatters. They were wearing green shirts, or they were wearing colored shirts with green duct tape and with Android figures on it, and welcome Android users. I mean, they were very, very welcoming. One person that I follow, her name is I can't remember now, Chick Lady or something like that. She's on every day from 7 to 9 in the morning, and very, very helpful, very, very positive person. She mentioned that Meerkat had about 2 million users, and mentioned that as having them being in their infancy stage. And 2 million really is not a lot of users when you consider other apps like Snapchat and Instagram and stuff like that with hundreds of millions of users. But it remains to be seen. I think it has some application for a lot of different things. For instance, I can think about being a pastor and being involved in ministry, some ministry opportunities. You could just do I do a podcast. I could do a morning devotional on Meerkat and get people to follow me. But one of the problems I have is I don't follow a lot of Twitter people. And one of the things that these Meerkatters emphasize so much is like, follow, share, and building up your Twitter. Well, I don't want to build up my Twitter list. I only follow a select number of people that I'm really interested in, technologists, whether it's Mashable, Engadget, Android Police, stuff like that, stuff that I'm interested in. I don't want to go to my Twitter feed in the morning and have to scroll through 300 or 400 or 500 posts. When I get up in the morning, I've got 35 or 50 to go through. That's doable. But now that they're pivoting toward Facebook, that could make a big difference, especially if they can get this thing to actually play your video within the Facebook news feed. That would be incredible. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. What are the other thoughts?
Well, isn't that kind of the holy sacred words of any social network? Like, share, follow. I mean, there's no surprise that that's kind of their mantra so far, right? I mean, wouldn't that be what you'd expect from anything that is social?
Yeah, but now these poor cats are having, if I can use that word, are having to shift to thinking about, okay, now we're going to totally pivot over toward Facebook, and they've made this major investment in building their Twitter following, and now it's going to change. I mean, you can still do it on Twitter, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wonder if their scalability is going to be affected. Because 2 million users, live streams, maybe they can handle that. 500 million live streams, something comes crashing to a halt.
Hey, come on, man. Hey, the tweet. We still see the fail whale on Twitter from time to time, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But a live feed is definitely more involved, right? Wouldn't you say?
Twitter's been around since 2006, and
I'm talking about Meerkat's infrastructure and the ability to scale. That's what I'm talking about. And how they get to go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Twitter still has a problem with that.
I know. I'm with you. But what I'm saying is these guys just have 2 million users. That's not a whole lot. If they
200 million users.
Yeah, when they go to Facebook, that is going to be like the size of Europe, whatever.
So, Periscope is Twitter's version of this. It hasn't come to Android yet. No. Does Periscope just kill Meerkat? Word was on the iOS platform that when Twitter brought Periscope to iOS, people just about quit using Meerkat. You had this mass exodus from Meerkat moving over to Periscope. Does this happen with...
No.
Why doesn't it happen, Bruce?
I don't think so, because if you listen to the Meerkat people, and of course there's no Periscope available for Android, but one of the things that you hear a lot of people say when you look at forums and you read posts about this, the commenting feature of Meerkat far exceeds the commenting feature on Periscope. Now, if Periscope can change and adjust, maybe then they can take the market share. But they say Periscope is really for watching. But Meerkat is for watching and commenting. There seems to be a much better commenting interaction using the commenting features in Meerkat than there is on Periscope.
Yeah, and Tanya B, thanks for all the feedback here on Meerkat, and Tech and Coffee 1 retweeted it. Thank you so much, Tech and Coffee.
Do you guys think they're going to allow for integration? Like we integrate to like a YouTube Live where you could stream from outside sources into Meerkat?
I think I'm going to give you my opinions on this. First of all, I've been pretty impressed with Meerkat. I know this is beta. It's not perfect. Every now and then, streams don't want to seem to launch for me, and when everything else does. So I think this is a Meerkat server thing and not my connection. Like I say, I think it's pretty cool. I'll tell you what, I don't see it lasting, but at the same time, I see it being around for a long time, and here's why. The citizen journalist thing. I mean, I was just talking to a guy today. Can you imagine the Arab Spring? I mean, I watched Al Jazeera TV. I don't know how much throughout the fall of Egypt and all that was going on over there. Okay. And basically it was Al Jazeera, and then Twitter was people posting videos and pictures and making short little comments of what they were seeing, what they were witnessing. And can you imagine if you had something like Meerkat when that was going down, to where someone could just open up their phone, start broadcasting, speak about what they're seeing, and that going out all over Twitter, and you're watching live video of it going down. That's the power that I see in platforms such as Meerkat.
Yeah, and that's what put Bamboozer on the map. The Bamboozer video streaming service and the Bamboozer app on your phone, that popped at the same time of the Arab Spring, and there was just an incredible number of citizen journalists doing exactly what you were talking about. This is 10 times as easy as Bamboo.
Right, right. Yeah. So.
And there's been other companies that like Livestream tried that. Had a feature that you could. Ustream had a feature that you could stream live from your phone as well, and never really took off. Was never really. And I don't think the cell phones themselves were. The connection was good enough. Now 4G and all that, all the infrastructure is kind of there to support it, and apps like this can flourish hopefully. But how much stuff can we watch? That's the other thing. I mean, I sometimes I'm making a conscious effort not to watch stuff, because I should be outdoors doing things and taking stumps out of my backyard or something like that, So
yeah. Well, George, you're with us, and you're actually watching using a web interface. And tell us about that link. I know of two of them.
I'm using both right now. I'm logged in as myself on one of my tablets watching.
Okay.
And I'm using the web link, which is if you go out to meerkatstreams.com.
Right.
And you look for Duke's Duke C actually in the stream. You'll actually be able to follow what we're doing up here. It's probably about 40-50 seconds late in the stream, but that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The other one is meerkathunt.com is another one website where you can find these things live. One of the other things I'll say, of course, when you come up with any kind of video thing, you're going to get some of the perverts, right, coming out here and trying to do something. I really laud the Meerkat team and moderators for doing a great job of keeping this from becoming really seedy as far as perversion and nudity and that sort of thing.
Well, here, let's see if we're flagged for a naked android. Look, he's not wearing pants. No pants.
Okay, guys. Meerkat, I think
all over again. Oh, jeez.
I think from what I've heard, just to kind of surmise, what I've heard is we're all kind of positive towards what we're seeing out of Meerkat. Is that not true?
Yeah, yep. But I do think there's a little bit of confusion on how to follow someone and find the stream. It's not that simple and easy as of yet. Even us guys here had a little difficulty getting that at times.
We've had some good luck with it, though.
And I don't know. You gotta remember this was built for mobile platform. But one thing that I do struggle with is when I open it up, all I see is the most popular. And now listen, once you find them, you can follow them, and then you'll get those notifications on your device that, hey, they're streaming live now. So that's an easy path. But just right out of the gate, you gotta kind of, I don't know, just kind of, try a few out and in and out, and when you find someone that's interesting, then you follow them then, and it's and probably. It might be to Meerkat's benefit right now that they don't because of the scaling up issues that you mentioned, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, I've had some good luck pimping us out in there, too. I'm the Funky Fairy, which is usually floating between number 1 and 5 on there. Pretty decent business that actually does all the official merchandise for Meerkat. They've been in our hangout just to say hi and stuff after they learned about us. So pretty decent people over in the UK making shirts and bags and stuff with the Meerkat images. So they've been over here and talked to us.
And I do ultimately think the move to Facebook is good for Meerkat and
Absolutely.
may put them over the top.
I'll tell you what. Before we move on, let me ask the panel one more question. Should Google buy Meerkat? Do they have a place for this?
They probably make their own, be honest with you. I mean, they may buy it and just incorporate it, but I mean, I can see them using it, but we've already got a Hangout, so to me it's just kind of a weird version of Hangout where you're watching one person and interacting back and forth with them. So
Anybody else?
My answer would be yes. And Google doesn't create a whole lot of its own stuff. It acquires things like this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they tried.
Yeah, I don't know if they would, but they might be interested in the brain drain. Getting the people, who are, technically advanced enough to put this together and then use their expertise to help the Hangouts on air better for the mobile version or something.
What makes Meerkat better than Hangouts?
Oh, it's simpler to launch. It's just way simpler.
It's simpler, and with the chat feature, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's more of a one-way conversation, but people can leave comments and stuff to where that one person can respond to those.
But see, one thing that Google has, they have that whole back-end scalability, YouTube Live stuff pretty much down, and they're all about creating more content. So, would they do it? I don't know, but it might be a wise move too if they did.
Yeah. Let me say another thing since you brought up YouTube Live. When you stream on Meerkat, if you use hashtag catch, KATCH, in your stream, you will get a tweet from that group with a link to a YouTube video where they create a YouTube video out of your stream, and you can watch it later, or somebody else can watch it later, because then you could share it with others. So maybe some tie-in with Meerkat being able to live stream to your YouTube Live account. That would be great.
But see, if Meerkat goes Facebook, it's not going to be doing that. They'll block that. In fact, YouTube changed their API, about 3 weeks ago? So you see a lot of things, little device support device no longer supported because they changed their API. They could easily break something,
Right.
All right, hey guys, talking about Google. Hey, we had this on the docket for last week, and like I say, Google didn't want us to talk about it. So let's talk about collections, man. Google has unveiled something both for Android and for their Google Plus service. It's called Collections. I call it Google's answer to Pinterest. Okay, a real easy way to store up photos and make kind of a photo album of a topic that you like. Jeff, what do you think of Collections, man?
I haven't really used them. I've seen them on Google Plus Stream, obviously, and it's just another way of, like you said, taking a collection of things like food or photography or bad feet, and having all these posts or whatever about bad feet in that post, and there you have it. But it's another step for people who are posting. So they're going to be kind of branding themselves again in another way. So as Bruce just put in the chat, stinky feet.
There you go.
So is it useful? If they would have came out with it out of the gate, perhaps. But now I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be. It's just another thing. It's kind of like another thing to do to kind of add value to it. It's another step. If you could automatically kind of tag it, and then it would do the collections for you, right? Of all your old posts, or somehow put that in there. But you have to curate all that stuff and bring it back in. If there was a way for them to kind of do a little bit for you, go back maybe a year or 2 years, so you don't have to recreate a lot of stuff or look at all your posts that you did and add that into your collection. That might be useful. But going forward, it's just another step. That's what I'm thinking. And they didn't say how many, how many collections you can have, how big they can be, things like that. So there's still a lot of unknowns. So you don't know the limits yet, I don't think.
Robert?
I think the other part is that there's some confusion as to a community versus a collection. I think if you kind of narrow it down, a collection is something that you as the user compiles, whereas a community is a collection of users adding to it. So there was a lot of posts that said, what's the difference between a collection and a community? A collection is something that I choose to add to a collection if I follow somebody, whereas a community is, just dumped into by all kinds of people.
I agree. I think Bruce is on fire in the chat room here. But and the other thing is, like say I have my website, right, and I have all these posts about Napa. Now I have to go and say create a collection of videos of life in Napa, and
right.
then add them all back in there. What's the difference between that and my YouTube channel, which has my playlist of life in Napa, right? And if you search for life in Napa, where is it going to go first in Google search? Is it going to go to the YouTube? Is it going to go to the collections? And do you need to do that extra step?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I think collections can be cool, but you know what I think's cool already, and I don't have to do anything, is stories.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what Google needs to do to better promote stories, but I think it's awesome when we hurl and we get together, and then the next day I get up and there's a new story created, and it's the previous day's events. I mean, how awesome is that,
But there's an example of Google doing something right in retrospect. It goes back and then it goes through that and it creates it, right? But I think collections, you have to physically add to it, which is, I think, another. You can only curate your stuff so much, and you don't know what the benefit is of all that time. But I think you're right on. The stories are just such a nice little added feature to Google Plus that is just, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Just real quick here, I'm going to run down some features. First of all, they are linked to the creator's account, okay? Yeah, so if people follow you, they're automatically going to see when you post a collection. And what this actually implies is that people can they can follow just individual collections without getting everything that you post, okay? So if, for example, if I did a Goldwing collection, someone could choose to follow my collection as I added photos to that, but they wouldn't see all the tech-related stuff, or they could choose not to see all the tech-related stuff.
But if they already follow you, they would see all your posts, right?
But that's the point about collections, is that you don't necessarily have to follow the person in all their posts. You can follow that particular person's interest in something. So in Duke's case, he has many varied interests. We're good friends. One of them happens to be motorcycle riding, but I may be an iOS user. I don't care about his thoughts about Android, but I do like his photo collections of when he takes his bike out.
Yeah, that's a good. I could see that. That would be good, actually.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't want to see any of this thong-related stuff.
No.
Well, like Robert said, I have varied interests. Yes, motorcycles and thongs being two of them. All right. Hey, guys, just listen, while we're talking about this, they did add collections, but they quietly removed the ability for us to share circles.
Yep.
So, real quick, before we move on, let's get the panel's thoughts on that. Jeff, did you ever share circles?
Yes, I did. I shared a Tech and Coffee circle many, many times.
Have you shared it lately?
No, I haven't.
George, I know you used to share circles quite a bit. A lot of your Linux followers, a lot of the Tech and Coffee circles, so forth, etc. How do you feel about Google removing that ability?
Actually, it's kind of peeving me off, because even if you wanted to share it, I can understand sharing publicly and stuff. But say I wanted to share with some people, like here's all the people I have my Linux thing. Now how am I going to do that? It's just Peeving me off.
I haven't done it lately, but I took a great deal of effort to identify people who were using Google Plus locally, people who were close to me who were using Google Plus, and I created what I called a locals circle. I shared it often. Now, granted, I hadn't shared it in 4 or 5 months because it hasn't changed that much, to be honest. But it was something that I shared, and I kind of hate that ability. I thought that was very powerful. Not that I could go to Facebook and recommend that Bruce follow Jeff, okay, but that I could say, hey, these are people that I follow that have this interest, okay, and I'm throwing it out to the world. If you have this interest, also follow this circle, you know.
Well, and that's kind of interesting that, Google is trying to, keep people involved in Google Plus, and yet you turn away or turn off one of the primary things that makes Google Plus, excel, is the concept of a circle. So here we have this particular feature, and this is how Google Plus grew very quickly in the beginning, where you had groups of people that were these collections, let's go back to collections, of people who liked Linux. And George said, well, if you're interested in Linux, here's a bunch of people you want to follow. If I moved to Tennessee and Duke said to me, hey, Robert, these are people that are local here in Tennessee, you want to follow these folks, there's no way for me to do that anymore. Now you make it impossible for the user to expand your user base with others and to share information with others. That was a bonehead move, a real bonehead move.
I agree. I hope this is something that returns later on down the line. And guys, really for the last two Google I/Os, we really haven't gotten any kind of Google Plus announcements. It used to be a big part of the keynote.
Ever since Vic left.
Yeah. So, and listen, that's coming up at the end of the month, along with a lot of other rumors that I really don't care to get into tonight. Let's wait till they get closer, and maybe we can kind of hash out the rumors and maybe get a feel for what's real and what isn't. But we'll talk further about that. Hey, guys, let's go ahead and move on here. First of all, Google has also announced that they've added a new feature to their Google Now. You can now say stuff like, okay, Google, listen to NPR. And if you have NPR installed on your system, guess what? It's going to launch it, and it's my understanding that currently these commands that you can speak to Google are going to have to be very specific. But this is going to do nothing but expand and get bigger and bigger. Robert, jump in here and let's hear what you think of this.
I love this. I love the concept of this. I'm disappointed in the selection of apps that they've chosen to start out, but the thought that you could actually speak to your phone, give it a command, even at its most rudimentary level of, okay, start this or open that. I can open Pandora with a few keystrokes, okay? And Pandora is going to go straight to the radio station that the playlist that I was last listening to, and it's going to start running. If I'm driving in my car, okay, how cool is it to just be able to say, okay, Google, open Pandora, and it starts playing Pandora? Or, okay, Google, just like navigate to, Krispy Kreme donuts. It's going to navigate there. So greater voice control is a wonderful thing. But once again, I'm still a little befuddled by some of the apps that they started out with, like Zillow and Realtor. Really?
I can explain that. The number of apps that are available for this voice control has nothing to do with Google. It has to do with the app maker and the companies utilizing and implementing the API that Google has released to allow them to do that. That's what's going to drive the number of apps. So I forget. I saw a news report about it. Maybe a couple hundred people are already working on this. So it's up to the app developer to incorporate this that Google has made available to them to have this connection with Google Now that will drive the number of apps that you can open with your voice.
Real quick, let me poll the room. Who uses Google Now daily right now? Who uses Google Now daily?
I do.
Jeff and Robert don't. Yeah, listen, I use it constantly, and I'll be honest with you, mine has increased since I've gone the Android Wear route. Okay, I mean, man, you guys cannot believe how often I'm talking to my wrist. Okay, I mean, I'm doing math equations. I'm checking weather. How many steps have I taken? It's like I say, Google Now is hey, it's rocking my world. I mean it. I am really. I'm amazed at how accurate Google Now has become.
Yeah, I actually use the cards on a daily basis, where you can see the list of all the cards that are set up for you.
Right.
But not so much Google. I don't say, okay, Google, how
But
old
you
is
are
Pamela
using
Anderson
cards.
every
You're
day.
getting the weather. Do you go somewhere and it tells you where you parked and you didn't even ask it to?
No, I haven't used that. I mean, what I use Google Now for pretty much is when I want to ask a question like, I'm trying to think of an actor's name or something like that, or if I'm navigating to something, right? Obviously, that's the number one thing. But I agree with Bruce. I think, once they have those, key phrases in most of the apps in that interface down, it's gonna be awesome. Because I still love it. I mean I totally dig Google Now.
I like Google Now too. I am not at the point of using it on a daily basis, and I don't count navigation as part of Google Now, even though it is. Okay, to me, navigation is still pretty much into the GPS. I think of Google Now, or when I look at integration of Google Now, is all-encompassing, not just one particular thing, like what you described, dude. You talk to your phone, you're asking it to do a calculation, you're asking it to, tell you the number of steps. You're actually interacting with your phone on a multiple level, basis. I don't really do that. I haven't gotten there yet, and I wonder if that's because I've chosen to do without the Android Wear on my wrist. And maybe it's just I don't want to pick up my phone and, start, the process.
Okay. All right. And I'll tell you what's the truth. We'll get there. Really quick. How are we on time? We're doing great. Really quick. Let's talk about Google acquired an app called Timeful. This is a scheduling app. It's beautiful. It's been very popular on iOS. Google has purchased it, and I'm sure that we're going to see it being implemented into Android. I think probably the first place we'll see it will be in the calendaring app. I fully expect this to make its way into Google Now. Okay? But before I give all of my opinions on it, George, I'm going to let you kick off this one. What do you think of Timeful, man? Was this a good purchase for Google, and how will Google utilize it?
I have absolutely no clue how to actually utilize it because I use, many applications within Google very similar. I for years have been using the calendar app and scheduling back and forth, which actually I schedule appointments by talking into Google Now, or scheduling time or whatever. So I'm not really sure how they were going to integrate it.
Okay. So somebody else jump in here, Bruce. What do you think, man?
You're muted, Bruce.
I'm sorry. So it's been an iOS-only app for a long time, so I don't really have a clue about Timeful and how it works and what value or extra leverage it'll give to me in managing, but I'm willing to take a look at it.
So obviously there's something deficient in Google Calendar and some other things, and they're trying, they're purchasing the brain power to make it better. So, like we had the discussion about Meerkat, they just wanted the brains behind it to enhance that experience, and they probably thought the Timely did a better job of doing it. I don't know. I don't have an iOS device, so but that's what Google does. They want the brains, right? They want and they're going to make it even better. So I'm sure they had a reason for it.
All right. Hey, really quick on this. Just want to talk a little bit about this. See if Jeff, you or Bruce have had any experiences with your device crashing, and if you've gotten the new version of Google's Web View, and has it solved anything for you?
I had no crashes as of yet. I just got the new release on my Nexus 10 of 5.1.1, I think, of Lollipop, and I don't know, that probably was part and parcel of it. But I haven't even looked for it, to tell you the truth. I haven't had any crashes.
Bruce?
I haven't had any crashes, but Lollipop's been the worst thing that ever happened to my Samsung Galaxy Alpha phone. Even though I was able to fix it by resetting the phone and then doing the update, it's 5.0.1 that they've released as far as the over-the-air update for AT&T Samsung phones. But I multiple times during the week I have to restart my phone because it starts acting up, becoming non-responsive. I know there's a way I could go back to KitKat, but it's so involved. I'm just going to wait until they update.
I just checked. I'm on 5.1.1 on Lollipop.
Yeah, I'm on. I'm not 5.1.1 yet on my Nexus 5 or my NVIDIA Shield, but I've had a lot of problems with my Nexus, and I did notice that I had a new version of WebView day before yesterday. I took it, and I don't know if it's fixed my problems or not, but I've had a lot of problems when I've gone to, say, launch my camera. The device just freezes up, and that's the end of it, so I end up having to reboot, or it will reboot on its own. It's been very frustrating to me, and I think what's really frustrating is I really don't see anything. I mean, everybody's raving about the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge. Guys, with that battery and that quad HD screen, I don't think there's any way I would purchase that device. I quit making that thing, thinner than a pencil. I want a battery that's going to get me through better than a day,
Hey, my G3 is nice. I'm loving it. And even with the Lollipop update, I haven't seen any battery drain as of yet. Anyways, so.
Okay. Well, I've lost my mouse, but I don't need it. Hey guys, let's talk about our discussion topic. And we've kind of been touching along this. I broke down after making fun of it for weeks here on this show. I broke down and I bought the Asus ZenWatch, and I've got to say I do enjoy it. I've said this on the show. That if I forgot my watch going to work, I wouldn't worry about it. But if I forgot my phone, I'd turn around and come back and get it. And I had before. Well, last week I forgot my watch, and I don't want to say I didn't miss it, but I certainly could have lived without it. Okay, it was no big deal to get by a day without it. With that said, I do like it. George recently picked up a Pebble watch. Tech and Coffee's Tanya Bolas from Canada picked up a Pebble today. Apple has there's been so much hype around the Apple Watch, and everybody is talking about these watches. And it started online in all the forums. The fanboys of both sides are just as childish as they were about the phones. Okay? Uh, Robert and Bruce, you haven't, or Jeff, you haven't taken the plunge yet. So, I'll tell you what's the truth, Robert. I'm going to let you kick this one off. You got a smartwatch in your future? Can you see one?
I'm not quite sure, but like I alluded to, you mentioned that now that you have the watch, you're using Google Now even more. And maybe there's a little bit of watch envy going on, because there's some kind of neat things that you can do with it. I still have my reservations, but I wonder if I'm not missing out on part of the Android experience because I haven't gone that extra step yet. It's not like it's a terribly large amount. $200, you know, that's a little bit on the pricey side for a watch. I mean, I take my little $40, $50 Timex and I'm good. But, $200, if I'm going to use it more, if it's going to make me more productive, if it's going to help me, with my health stuff, I mean, I've kind of got some issues here that I got to address. So maybe I should go ahead and drop the money. I got to tell you, if you asked me this question a month or two ago, I would have told you no. Even though you had the watch, I would have said no. But now I've started paying a little bit closer attention to what people are doing with the watches. I'm saying to myself, man, that's cool. Having said that, my one last final glitch, and this will be my last word, I'll give somebody else a shot to step in. The battery life just, I don't like the fact that I have to charge it every night or every other night at minimum. That just makes me extremely antsy.
All right. Jeff, I'll let you go next, man. You got one in your future?
No.
Just straight up no.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Why?
Why? I'm not a watch. I don't wear a watch. That's number one. I feel like I'm boxing, But no, I don't wear a watch. And if I want to know the time, I just look on my smartphone, and bingo, is there. It's always in my pocket. I don't want anything else popping up on my, Google notifications on my wrist all the time. No. And that I know you can control that and all that stuff. It's just that for me, again, it was probably something else that I need to charge and keep and put on my wrist and do those things. If the battery life far exceeded like 4 days or 3 days or something like that, maybe I would do it. But if I pull out of my, it's weird. I have a watch, a Timex Ironman in here, and it's in my drawer. If I pull this thing out, I haven't changed the battery in like 10 years. This thing's still it's still showing the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to do it. And even if someone gave me an Apple Watch and an Apple phone, and I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Well, first of all, you bring up an interesting point. With a Pebble watch, you would get 8, 9, 10 days battery life, okay? And, Pebble just gives you notifications, but it's got excellent battery life. But, yeah, the people dropping $17,000 for an Apple watch trying to make a fashion statement, which all they're doing is, they're making an ignorant statement because, you replace your computer every 3 years. How often are you going to replace that $17,000 Apple watch? Okay, hey Bruce, give me your thoughts, man.
Well, two funny things. Number one, only old farts wear watches these days. Number two, I don't want a tan line on my wrist like I do on my Chaco sandals when I go to the beach in Florida here. But beyond that, my phone is always laying on my desk. It's always up. If I want to see what time it is, I just reach over there, push the button. I see what time it is, and it's nice and big, and I put the phone down. I realize I could go like this, but if you watch the this last Saturday's version of the Screensavers, Leo Laporte had Kevin Rose on there, one of the old Screensaver people, as his co-host. And I agree with what he says. And he is a watch aficionado. If you don't know this, he collects antique watches, and some of them very expensive. And he wears a watch because he just likes watches. He likes the analog, the way they all work. He's actually gone to Germany and other places and toured the watch making factories where it takes a year. These things are all handmade. But beyond that, he said, if I want to know what time it is, I just look at my phone. So there's not a watch in my future, and maybe I would possibly consider it if the battery life was long. But I'm going to be interested in hearing Tanya Bolas's review of the Pebble watch.
Oh my God, I've become tech support for her. Sorry, Tanya.
Let me ask you guys this question. I mean, right now we're talking about Android Wear. Or smartwatches in general as they are today. But what if we were talking about, let's say a price point of $99? Okay, if you could get like with the features that are right now with the Android Lollipop and so forth, etc. I mean, if you could get a solid, good-looking watch for that price point, do you think that that you'd be in? I think Robert would be. I'm not real sure about Jeff or Bruce, though. Jeff says no.
Price point, if the price point was right, the battery life was good, and I could make Dick Tracy type calls, I might switch to a watch and a tablet.
Now that's a thought. And see, that is where I've said this before on the show. This is where I see technology going. That basically your CPU, the whole power of everything about a computer that you wear, you'll wear on your wrist, but the displays will be communicated through Bluetooth to the larger display devices. That's the future that I see of mobile technology.
There's an old joke about this. This guy with toilet paper in the bathroom getting a fax. So, I'm just not going there.
Okay, man.
Watch it.
Watch it.
Okay. Anything else about Android Wear and your thoughts of it as it is today?
Who are we talking to?
I'm talking to all of you. Any other thoughts before I call this segment a segment that we're through with?
I seriously love my Pebble Steel, even if I got it out of a vending machine, Robert.
Yes, out of the vending machine, which just boggles my mind that somebody would buy a device like that out of a vending machine.
I'm kind of curious to see how the Apple Watch and its perhaps success or not success will drive this segment of the marketplace. And will it just thrive, or will it be like the Samsung Galaxy Gear watch? Will it just kind of slowly go down? But
I guess I'm still amazed, guys, that people are willing to spend $700 for this Apple Watch. And basically, if you buy certain bands and all, it takes a $350 watch and puts it right at a $700 price point. Okay.
And there's an aftermarket for getting it gold-plated to make it look like the even more expensive watches.
I got a question for you. Which came first, Pebble or the Apple Watch? Now, the Pebble came first. I read an article the other day on comparing the Steel to the Apple Watch, battery life, all that stuff. But one of the main keys was it says it looks like Pebble has copied the Apple Watch. I'm like, what? Because it looks identical to this. They have a version of this. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking you're lying there.
Just really quick, from the Meerkat stream, some comments. Android Roland says a smartwatch could be beneficial in that sense. I'm not sure what sense we were talking about. Let's see. Then Tanya Bola said that's why I got it. And then Andrew Rowland has said my phone tells me the steps that I take, though. And that's true that your phone does that, but you have to take your phone with you. The watch would be on your wrist already. And the Android Wear, the Apple Watch, and the Pebble does not require you to have your phone with you when it's measuring the steps that you take. So, all right, man.
But
Hey, guys.
who in their right mind is not, if you're hiking or riding, is not taking their phone with them? Because in today's world, it's like almost a necessity to have your phone with you at all times.
It is, but in essence, it's easier for me to look at my wrist to see how many steps I've taken than to reach in my pocket and pull out my phone.
No. When I use My Tracks or Runkeeper or whatever, it tells splits. It does all these other things. It shows miles to the route.
Jeff, Runkeeper does all of that on Android Wear right on your wrist.
Yep.
Okay? Runkeeper does that now on your wrist. You don't have
Does it show the map that you took, the route you took?
And
could you read it if you saw it?
The route or not? I'm really not sure. But listen, all of that is fed to your wrist, and you can swipe and look at different views, and yeah, the splits and stuff are there. All right, hey guys, let me do this right here. Who in the world are we? First of all, hey Meerkat viewers, all 20 of you, thank you guys. Really appreciate you viewing our show. This is episode 99 of Android Journal, but who are we? Well, we're Tech and Coffee. We're a Google Plus hangout. We are our own community. We were a community before Google started them. And we've got a Twitter and a Facebook. You can follow us at Tech and Coffee 1 on Twitter and Facebook. YouTube, we are Tech and Coffee. Our favorite social network, as I mentioned, is Google+. Please follow Tech and Coffee there. Search for Tech and Coffee. Look for that T and C logo. Also, you can catch our podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Player FM. Hey, tweet us. Use the hash Tech and Coffee. As always, questions, comments, and snide remarks, AJ at techandcoffee.info. Hey, guys, let's talk about apps this week. Bruce, what do you have for us, man?
Well, my app of the week was going to be Meerkat. I think we've really pretty much, covered all of that. It's been interesting to watch the Meerkat stream of the show, and hopefully we'll continue to see it develop further. But I'm still bullish on it, and I posted this in our chat. But when I looked at my phone just a minute ago, I noticed there's a new version of the Android Meerkat. So they're continuing to add things. Some of the things that I haven't checked to see if the new version adds is there's on the iOS version you can tap on a commenter and choose to follow them right from there, and there would normally be a follow button underneath the person who's streaming. But so anyway, I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Very good, very good. George, what do you got for us, my friend?
Well, my app of the week is going to be the Pebble app because I have the Pebble watch. It's actually kind of cool. There's several hundred apps. The Pebble will only hold, I believe it's 8 apps at once, but you have a locker down below where you can move stuff back and forth, so you can take something out of the watch and move something back up. So far, every app I've seen is free. So, and I think Jeff had mentioned, I don't know if I can find it here. Now it's taken a bit of time, but what was it? The runner app you were talking about?
Runkeeper.
Yeah, that's part of Pebble, and I believe it's part of most smartwatches that I've seen. But you can, I haven't had it on here. I'm using an app called Misfit, which is probably a disturbing app for keeping track of your fitness, but it keeps me in line. It lets me I set a goal in the watch, and technically I've forgotten my phone when having the watch, so the watch has kind of kept track of what I've been doing without the phone involved.
Okay, and before we move on, I just want some other comments from Twitter. Doug Clement says that he uses Google Now daily with an LG G Watch or a Bluetooth headset. Absolutely. I hear you, Doug, and agree with you. All right, man. Jeff, what kind of app you got for us?
Well, I've got a quick app. It's called AZ. Let me get rid of my one shot here. AZ Screen Recorder, and that is in the show notes, so someone could look at that and download it. It gives you the ability to record everything on your screen on your Android tablet, okay, or your phone. I'm gonna launch it right now because I'm gonna do this rather quickly. So when you click on it, it pulls up these like 4 little icons, and if I click the red one with the kind of looks like the shutter, it's going to start recording everything I do on the screen. So every movement I make on my tablet, it's recording it. And I'm going to go to Duke's favorite app called NodeBeat. I know he loves NodeBeat. He plays with it all the time. And I'm just going to say, listen, okay, and it actually records it with sound. You can't hear anything right now because it's going through my HDMI. So bingo bango, let's say that's done. I'm going to click on the stop recording, and now I can either share it or I can trim it or do whatever I want to it. I'm just going to see if I can show you what it looks like. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Here it is right here, and I should be able to play that. And that is actually me playing the recorded screen. And it has the sound as well, but since it's going through the HDMI on my thing, you cannot see it. So that's everything we just did. It's free on Google+. If you have to record anything off your Android tablet or phone, it's a great thing to use, and it'll just do it automatically.
Very good.
Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the coolest apps I've seen in a while.
Hey,
Duke
Jeff.
Tirico here. Just
this is not the one you demoed, but here's one just like it that I've downloaded, and you can hear me talking here.
Tweetcaster Pro, Carbon, Phoenix. The one that I seem to always keep coming back to, however, is Plume. All of these apps that I've mentioned, they're actually very good Twitter apps, but for some reason, Plume seems my go-to.
And you can kind of see there, those are very handy apps. And basically, when I find an app that I like,
Android Twitter
app,
my bad. And I want to give you guys.
Normally, when I find an app that I like, I will normally open up my screen recorder and do a demo of me doing that, upload it to YouTube, and then I embed it in my website. Very, very handy apps, those recorder apps, absolutely. And what's really cool since Lollipop has come along, there's so many of them now that don't require root access.
Yeah, and this does not require root access as well.
Yeah, so that that is a very, very powerful app, and yes, I'm running one right now that doesn't require root. I've got another one that I purchased that does require root, but I would recommend to anyone out there that has a need to go ahead and grab those screen recorder apps. And by the way, it's been some time back now, probably 3 or 4 months ago. That was my app of the week, that Screen Recorder Pro, I believe is the one that I've got.
Yeah, and this is called AZ Screen Recorder. Again, it's no root and records sound and everything. So if you're demoing something, it's a good thing to use.
A lot of them out there before Lollipop would record the screen, but they wouldn't. There was something, you had to have root to access the microphone. And there's something different. I don't know exactly what it is now, but there's something different within Lollipop that allows these recorder apps to access the microphone and activate it. Very good. Robert, what do you got for us, man?
Well, I tell you what, just coming back from a bit of a trip, and I, even though have a wonderful phone that's got that great big long time battery, I ran it down pretty quick. And I found the need for a portable battery charger. Now, that's not my app. My actual app this evening is one to help you kind of measure what's going on. And I'll show you how this plays in just a second. The name of the app is called Amper. What Amper actually does is shows you what the state of your battery is and what kind of charge you're putting into it. All of us now have dozens of USB chargers, right? Are they 500 milliamps? Are they 1 milliamp? Are they 2 milliamp? A whole mess of things. It's a conglomerated mess. But now you can find out very easily with this app called Amper. So let me share my screen with y'all real quick. I'll pull this up, and we'll do this. And I'm just going to show you what Amper looks like. It not plugged in. I'm just going to go ahead and start the app. And it will actually measure and tell me what the state of the battery is. It's discharging, how much I'm using of that battery right now. So if I had a whole lot of applications running in the background, as a matter of fact, I have AirDroid running right now, so it's using a pretty good amount of milliamps, and it's pulling down my battery. Now, that doesn't sound too exciting until you remember, well, I have a plug, but is this plug strong enough to actually charge my phone? Now watch what happens when I plug in and I turn on my little battery. Something happened. Power connected. It's now measuring. Notice the status says charging, but it's actually measuring what's coming in. And if I leave this sit here just like this for a little while, you'll see this kind of go up and down a little bit, and I can tell what this charger is actually doing to my phone. If I had a weak charger, say only 500 milliamp charger, and I was running a lot of applications, this would actually be red or gold and telling me that I'm in the negative, that I'm still actually discharging my battery even though I have it plugged in. So this little application, Amper, is really cool because it gives you the state of your battery, yes. It tells you what your charge life is, yes. But even more importantly, when you're plugging in, it tells you what the status of the charge you're getting from that power source, whether it's plugged into a car, plugged into a portable battery pack like what I have now, or plugged into a USB adapter. I strongly recommend it. It's free, available in the Play Store. Just look for Amper, A-M-P-E-R-E. Great app.
Very handy, Robert, and I will be grabbing that right after the show. Very, very handy. Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
All right. Hey, guys, my app this week is If by If This, Then That. And really quick, in the Play Store, this thing has been, first of all, it's an editor's choice app. It's got 52,297 reviews with an average of 4 stars. So what is If This Then That? You know, here a while back, I know Bruce and myself, we were playing a lot with the NFC tags. And you could, use an app to program the tags to where when you scanned it, it would perform certain functions. Very cool app. But this is similar, but the beauty of this is it doesn't require NFC to necessarily do things. And just to show you here, this is what my If This Then That looks like, and I've got some things set up, like if here's one that if your Facebook profile changes, then it'll update your, whatever. And then I've got some stuff set up. It tells me what's popular on Best Buy each day, the 10 most popular things that are on Best Buy. And I'll get these alerts via my phone. I've also got it set up, normally at work, I've got it set up to where when I walk into my office, it knows that I'm in my office and it kills my ringer. When I get home, it knows that I'm at home and it unmutes my ringer. And these are all different recipes that's offered by If This Then That. You go to the website, If This Then That, and you can set these things up. And also, They've got an Android Wear app, so you can control and do many of these functions. You'll get the notifications on your watch. You can control some of them from your watch. This is, listen, I could spend an hour talking about what all you can do with if this then that. But if you want to automate the process of controlling the things that your mobile device does now, you need to install the If app on your phone. It is an incredibly powerful app, and I would highly, highly recommend it.
Is it free or is it?
It's absolutely free. Yes, it is. It's just a very, very powerful app.
Now let me ask you this, because it's one of those apps that's always on, waiting for you to get to work, waiting for you to get to home. Have you noticed any appreciable difference in your battery life running this app?
I have noticed some dip in battery performance. Yes, I have. All right. Hey, anything else, guys? All right, then. Hey, man, episode 99 is about to be complete. So, hey, guys, next week, I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot of the Google I/O rumors for both Google and Android specific. So be sure and tune in. Yeah, Jeff's pointing at his glasses like we're going to have some sort of Google Glass announcement.
Yeah, he's going to have to bring the cake because it is episode 100. But no, Jeff, no glass.
Hey, and before I sign off, I just want to thank, the 38 people who's watched us on Meerkat. Thank you guys so very much. Thank you for tuning in. And if you really want to check us out, go to techandcoffee.info. We hang out all the time. We're all good friends. We love to talk tech. Bring your favorite beverage. And, hey, come and introduce yourselves. We'd love to meet you, man. And, hey, guys, episode 99 is over with.